Welcome to the Jerusalem Tanya. Today is Yom Rishon, Sunday, the 21st day of the month of Shvat. The year is 5776, and we are in what I believe is the 23rd chapter of the Tanya. Let's just make sure here. Yes, chapter 23. Ach המחשבה וההרהור בדברי תורה שבמוח וכוח הדיבור בדברי תורה שבפה שהם לבושים הפנימיים של נפש אלוקית וכל שכן נפש אלוקית עצמה המלובשת בהם כולם מיוחדים ממש בייחוד גמור ברצון העליון ולא מרכבה לבד. The Baal HaTanya says that thought and contemplating the words of Torah by means of our intellectual faculties. How else would we think? And where which is situated in our physical brain. And the power of speech to speak of words of Torah like we're doing right now. Using the faculty of speech, the physical faculty of speech, that he says they are actually inside garments, internal garments for the Nefesh Elokit. Nefesh Elokit is the godly soul. And all the more so, the godly soul that is dressed within them. So these internal garments of the godly soul, such as thoughts of Torah that is being dressed in the brain, and words of Torah that are dressed in the power of speech, and the godly soul that sustains thought and speech, and all the more so the godly soul itself, are all united, mamish, in the deepest, most real sense, that they're truly united in a complete unity with God's heavenly will. It's not simply a vessel for God's heavenly will. It's a unity, it's a union. A vessel, the word for vessel used here is actually the word for chariot, a merkava. And we explained that he said a few days ago how the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the patriarchs of Israel, hen hamerkava. They themselves, the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of blessed memory, they themselves are the merkava, the chariot of Ezekiel. Again, what is the chariot? Ezekiel saw a chariot in a vision, the first chapter of Ezekiel. Who's driving the chariot? The one and only, the Holy One, blessed be He. The godly soul. Not just the godly soul, but God Himself. Bikvodo v'atzmo. God, in all His very glory, in His very essence, is driving the chariot of Ezekiel. So the chariot is nullified before the driver. The chariot goes where the driver wants him to go. The same way the patriarchs were nullified before Hashem, the Holy One, blessed be He, b'kvodo v'atzmo, in His glory and in His essence, may He be blessed. All they did were just working every day to become more and more pure vessels for the will of Hashem, for God's heavenly will. That's why the patriarchs are compared to the holy chariot. So here, he's saying that, to reiterate, our thoughts of Torah, expressed in our physical faculty of thought, and words of Torah that are expressed in the physical faculty of speech, these are garments for the godly soul. And all the more so, and so these garments of the godly soul, and all the more so the godly soul itself, are completely and truly united with God. May he be blessed. With God, with what part of God are we connecting to? His heavenly will. And they're not simply chariots for his heavenly will, but they're in a complete unity with his heavenly will. Ki ratzon ha'elyon hu ha'davar halakha atzma. Because God's heavenly will is in itself, in its essence, the matter of halakha, of Jewish law, that the Jew is thinking about and speaking about. Shekol ha'alachot hem pratei hamshachot pnimiyut ratzon elyon atzmo. Shekach ala b'rtzono yitbarach shedavar ze mutar o kasher o pator o zakai o lehefech. Because the halacha that you're thinking about, you're thinking, it's forbidden for me to drive in a car on Shabbos. Why? Because it's like making fire. Why? Because we received the Torah. God gave us the Torah. And God, it's like we read in the Parsha Shvuah, it says, I am the Lord your God. I am the Lord your God in Hebrew is Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Anochi is, the Talmud says, it's the initial letters of the phrase in Aramaic, Ana nafshi ktevit yahavit. I myself am given as I am written, meaning the very letters of the Torah are me. The letters written in the Torah are me, meaning my heavenly will. That is those very letters in ink on parchment, in the ark, in the synagogue, that's taken out and read, and it says, Lo tevara esh b'kol moshvotechem, and it says, don't burn fire in anywhere you live. Wherever a Jew lives, Saturday, Friday night, sunset comes along, it's sunset on Friday night. It's God's heavenly will that a Jew doesn't burn fire in any form. Electricity is also fire. Electricity is a form of fire. They share the same properties. So all the rabbis say that electricity is fire. It burns. It's hot. It gives light like fire. So the electricity, and in a car you turn the key to the ignition, it starts a fire. It's like burning a fire. So in contemplating these words of law and then opening up the code of Jewish law and learning the details of the laws of Shabbos and all the details of what it means not to burn fire, not just not to burn fire, but also to increase the flame or to lower the flame, or how the essence of the law is actually extinguishing a flame, and and how we can't tip the candle. If we tip a candle, it'll cause the flame to burn more, and how even in a tiny bit, the tiny minutiae of the law, that I don't want to burn the fire in any amount. So all of these thoughts, the Baal HaTanya says, that itself is Ana nafshi kativat yavit. God says, I am the Lord your God. Anochi means I. Anochi is the initial letters of I myself am as I am written. It's me. My writing, what I am writing is me. So that's God's heavenly will in the laws of Shabbos and kosher and family purity. All of these laws are not just garments for God, they are in essence God's heavenly will. Whatever that this one is goes to court and he doesn't owe money, and this one goes to court and he does, and this one that this chicken is kosher and this chicken is treif, this is permitted to eat, this is forbidden to eat. That is Ratzon Elyon, God's heavenly will. May he be blessed. Shekach ala b'ratzono yitbarach shedavar ze mutar kasher pator zakai o lehefech v'ken kol tzirufei otziot Tanakh hen hamshachat ratzono v'chochmato hamiyuchadot be'en sof baruch hu. He says not only that, the Baal HaTanya says something tremendously awesome here. Tremendously awesome. He says, not only are the laws that we're thinking or speaking about God united in a complete unity with God's heavenly will, but also all of the combinations of letters found in the 24 books of the Bible, 5 books of Moses and the prophets and the writings, what we call the Tanakh, all of the combination of letters found therein are expressions drawn out from God's will and God's wisdom that's united with the endless. May he be blessed. But Tachlita Yichud, in an absolute unity. Shuhu Hayodua, Hua Yodea, Hua Madav, Hua Yadua. It's the Holy Trinity. What's the Holy Trinity? The real Holy Trinity is that God is the one who knows, and the knowledge, and that which is known. Meaning that God's wisdom and God's will are God himself. Everything you see is what God knows. That's the known. That's the Yadua. Everything God thinks. The world is an expression of God's thoughts. Everything you see, ever from the moment you can perceive from the time you're born until the very last thing you'll ever see in your life, and beyond and before, it's all an expression of God's thoughts and speech. He is the knower. He is the knowledge, meaning anything a human being can know equals God. May he be blessed. And he is the known, meaning everything that can be known by a human being is also God. These are all one. It's an absolute unity. So what is this? Why does the Baal HaTanya throw this in here? Because he's explaining the mitzvot. And he says, how does he say it? He's talking about how the mitzvot are a garment, not just the mitzvot are a garment for godliness. So there's a separation. However, the words of Torah and the thoughts and the speech of Torah are in an absolute unity with God. So the excellent book, Shiurim B'Sefer Tanya, in Hebrew it's called Lessons in Tanya. In English it's called Lessons in Tanya. In Hebrew, Shiurim B'Sefer Tanya, gives the following analogy. What's the difference between learning Torah and keeping the mitzvot? Can be compared to a king who wants a beautiful palace to be built. So he organizes a book explaining with every detail, all of the blueprints and all of the dimensions and all of everything a person can write down on paper about planning and building his palace is written in this book. So then the wise men of the king, they sit and they're learning the book in order to, they're poring over the blueprints and they're doing all of the engineering that needs to be done and all the calculations and making and figuring out exactly everything that needs to be planned in order to actually build. Now, when they actually build the palace, they have the walls of the palace are not the king's will; they're expressions of the king's will. Unto themselves, these walls of the palace and the floors and all of the details of the palace, in the physical sense, the physical reality of them are not the king's will. They're expressions of the king's will. However, when the king sat down himself and wrote down and approved with his team or by himself, exactly writing down his vision of exactly how he wants his palace to be and explaining all of the details about how to build it, that is the king's will. That's in a total unity with what the king wants. The way it comes out in the world is not an absolute unity with what he wants. Hopefully, if they build it correctly, it'll be very close. It'll be as close as humanly possible, based on the book. But there's a little separation. However, the moral of the story is clear. It's very clear that when we learn Torah, we're uniting with God's heavenly will itself, in essence. It's a total unity. However, when we're performing the mitzvot, we are giving expression and life to God's will, although it is not a complete and absolute unity with God's will. Shamar Doraita Kuchabriku Kulachad, and that explains the words of the Zohar, how the Torah and God are really one and the same. Velo evarim de malka l'chud kefikudin. And the Zohar goes on to say that the Torah and God are one, but not like the mitzvot, which are compared to the limbs of the king. It's like the arms of the king, the fingers of the king, but they're not the king. The Torah itself and Hashem, God, are the king, are one. However, the commandments that he tells us to do, they are expressions of the king's will, such as the way my hand gives expression to what's in my thought and what my soul wants. So this is Batzalel Edwards for the Jerusalem Tanya, wishing you a wonderful day, the 21st day of Shvat, Sunday, 5776.